Hey, hello guys. Today I'm gonna do a deck profile of a Sanctuary Dragon deck. This deck actually got me pretty far in the latest West Coast regionals held in California. I made it all the way to one round before top 8. I was the last Sanctuary Guard player, and the reason is because I found that the way I built this is probably one of the more consistent Sanctuary Guard decks you'll see. I had two Maras. The first Mara, the thing that helped me get over him was he didn't have the limit break enabler, which I will explain, which was the difference in that game. And the second Mara, his deck just wasn't as fast as mine, and I will explain. I'll just that. So for the starter, we ran Milius. One of the guys that I actually played, he ran the Jewel Knight starter, which was a big mistake in my eyes. Milius actually could get you a missing link. So you want to run Milius as your starter. I get that you want the early like Sword Me Simlink combo, but this is obviously the best starter. My friend of mine tells me to run the other starter. No, this is the best starter. So we run 4 Jewel Knight heal, and you want them to be Jewel Knight because just to max out the possibility of Sword Me, and their heal. So why not? Run 3 Jewel Knight crit. Like I said, you want them to be Jewel Knight and their crits. This is actually a 12 crit deck, by the way. So we run 1 regular crit because I couldn't find the last of this crit, Rochelle, or whatever her name is. So yeah, officially I'll change it, but for the tournament, I had to run this. And it actually wasn't that big of a deal. I never actually damage checked this card, and it wasn't actually noticeable. I actually draw checked this card like twice. So we run. Let's see here. So we run 4 of the new Jewel Knight crit. Like I said, it's a 12 crit deck, and you want it to be as much as Jewel Knight as possible. So you run the 4 Jewel Knight crit, the new one that came out in the recent GBO4 set, as I'm recording this, and 4 of the Noble Stinger Jewel Knight crit. Like I said, you want it to be Jewel Knight, and it's a 12 crit deck, which actually helped me a lot. I feel like crits in a rush deck, I've never seen like a 12 crit rush deck. And it's actually helped me a lot because this deck is built to win at 3, and a lot of times on my first try they'd be at 3 or 4 because of the crits. 4 Jewel Knight Simile. This card is actually either used early game if I have the setup so I can have my limit breaker or another one of these hitting at 17k. They're grade 1 because a lot of times, like the way I built this deck is you can go first or second and hit your opponent really hard, really fast. Or late game with a Sword Me. This card is really undervalued. I'll see only people run like 2 or 3 in their deck. 3 is actually a good number, but for the way I build it 4, it's really good in the OTK. Late game, you can have an unboosted Sword Me hitting for 28,000, which is ridiculous. You want to run 4 of these. 2 limit break enablers. Like I said, this card is really undervalued. First of all, it's a 7k, which is really good. And early game, I try to get this out as fast as possible with Sword Me, because let's say you go first. A lot of people in this Sanctuary Guard deck, they like to go second so they can stride first to try to kill their opponent as fast as possible. But going second, they like to go second so they can blow their opponent out as fast as possible. Going first actually is a really big advantage too, especially if you're in the Mara, and that's what happened to me in both Maras. Because as soon as you go into your stride, they're gonna try to blow you back out with their stride, which is, in my estimate, it was vice versa. But they didn't have this, which I was hitting for 25k at their 9k Vanguard, which is crazy. And then of course I would crit. So like I said, this card honestly saved me a lot in the Mara, and that's why I run 2. At first I only ran 1, but 2 is really good. 4 Lord Nicilius, because you want to stride this deck, it's all about striding, and because you only run 7 grade 3s, you want to run 4 of this card. And 4 Jewel Knight PG, We do not need the unflip. This isn't a late game deck. You want to kill them as fast and as early as possible, and you don't want to damage check a non-jewel knight. You want to get as much jewel knights as possible. So run these ones. You don't need the unflip. Not in this deck. 2 beat stick 12Ks. The reason why I run 2 is because you can have, if you have a full back row, things at normal power is 18K, then plus a 3K is hitting for 21. So 15K drop unboosted. You want to run 2 of this. It's a very good beat stick. Very good first attack for your setup. Crazy. 2 Starlight Violinist. Now this card basically is you counterblast 1, soul blast 1, call out another grade 2. Basically you either want to ride this or save this for late game for a really good combo. This card has actually won me a lot of games. This card is really, really powerful. Very, very good tech card. 4 Knight of the Twin Sword. This card is actually pretty slept on. This card is probably your best grade 2, even better than Sword Me, because after you do Sword Me, it's pretty much useless. This card is, you want this on the field at all times. So that's another reason why I run the Jewel Knight PGs. You want to protect this card. A lot of times my opponent will try to hit this card consistently, and you want to protect this card no matter what. This card is really one of the things that make this deck goes. Very, very powerful card. Very, very powerful card. And this is one thing I use the most in this deck out of any other grade 2. Very, very powerful card, actually. And 4 of the Cancer Cat himself. Counterblast 1, Jewel Knight, call out another Jewel Knight, grade 1. Like I said, really good grade 2 turn. Just call out, boom, get another one, boom. And then you just have a full field hitting your opponent consistently. And like I said, you want to get the limit break out as much as possible. So I use that to call out the limit breaker. And then if you have a lot of Jewel Knights on the field, use this, call out Simulane, give it 10K, 19K to their 9K Vanguard, which is a 15K drop. They're probably going to take it, so you can get them at 3 to 4 damage on your turn 2. Very, very, very good card. I see why people hate it so much. $25 promo, which is not cheap. 3 guarantee. The only reason why you really want to run this card is because it has a Sanctuary Guard in its name. And like I said, for the Stride, you want to have Sanctuary Guard in its name. I rarely ride this card. I try not to. The main reason why this card's in this deck is either for Stride, because like I said, you only run 7 grade 3s, or for Rear Guard, because like I said, this card will gain 9K for if you have 3 grade 1s, so 19. Then scale counterblast 1, give it 3K, that's 22K, another 15K drop. Puts in work. Card puts in work. Very, very card that I see people not putting that on the rear guard a lot, and it hits really, really hard. And then finally, 4 Mega Trial deck, Sanctuary Guard, Dragons. I really only ride this card because, like I said, you want to get the limit break off, so it can gain 3K for every grade 1 or less. So that'd be plus 9, so it'd be like what? You're hitting for like I said, 25 after grade 2, 9K, or even worse, 8K. I've even seen 7K. Very, very hard to guard. You really, this deck just hits really, really hard, and even a lot of times when I play shadow decks, they'll abyss my first limit breakers, but you can use this effect to call out another one. So this card's pretty powerful. So for the strategy run, 3 Regalia of the Super Saiyan version himself of the Sanctuary Guard Dragon. Basically, this card just gives 3K to the front row for every grade 1 or less on the field. This card is what basically makes this deck go. The reason why I don't run 4 is because if you can't kill them in 3, then you're not playing the deck right. Honestly, you shouldn't need 4 to kill your opponent. Like I said, this card is what makes the deck go, and it's cheap, so pick it up. 1 Gold Blade, because just in case you're missing something on your field, on hit Gold Blade usually just try to call Twin Sword or Sword Me. Basically, and it's also baits out of PG a lot of times. People are like, no, I don't want to give you a free plus. So this is basically a stopgap, especially if you're playing like a Link Joker deck. You just try into this first and be like, all right, I'm not going to call out rear guards, but if you're going to give me a free one, sure, you know. So, and then finally for Saint Blow, I actually misread this card. I thought it said 3K for every one or less, but it's for every rear guard. And then if you have 2 or more in your G zone, then this basically gets extra crit. Very, very powerful card. It's the finisher. You only want to do this card if your opponent doesn't, if you know your opponent doesn't have a PG. It's actually won me a couple of games, but I kind of honestly never need it because Sanctuary Guard deck hits so hard and so fast. So for the combo, basically you want to have at least 3 or 4 counterblasts, but 3 is a good number as well. So you want, first you want to stride, and you can make some things happen. This deck is pretty disgusting, pretty filthy deck. You can make stuff happen with three counterblasts. So basically you want to have probably this, and you want to have a Twin Sword. Remember I said Twin Sword is the card that makes this deck go as fast as possible. You want to have some great ones on the field. So let's say you just have Milius, because probably be your ideal. And let's say, let's just say you have the 2. Let's say you have the 2 Limit Break Enablers. So you're gonna attack for 21k. It's a 21k. It's a 15k drop, which is ridiculous, unboosted, because it's 13, 16, 18 right here. So ridiculous drop. 12, 15, 18. So 18 plus 3 is 21. Then you want to attack this. It's 25. Skill. Counter. That's 1 counterblast. We're going to call out Violinist. Counterblast. Soul Blast. To call out another Twin Sword. Then another Twin Sword. Skill, it's another counterblast. So we only use 2 counterblasts so far. Actually 3. That'd be your last counterblast if you have 3. So if you only have 3, you want to just call out another 21k beat stick. If not, then you want to go to the Cancer Cat himself. So let's say you have another counterblast just cuz, and you call out Soar Me Skill. So that'd be your 4th counterblast. And then you would call out, what I like to do is probably just put it right here, because this thing's already hitting pretty high for himself. And plus 10k, so this thing is at 28 already. Wow. And you attack with this, and since you went 12 crits, whew, they're already either at 4-3, maybe 5. I think 5. And yeah, whew. Then if they PG you, this thing's gonna come in for at least probably double crit. 38,000, whew, by himself. Yeah, it just puts on a lot of pressure. It's like 4 or 5 attacks just from 3 counterblasts. Like I said, this deck was very well constructed to fit my aggro playstyle. If you're an aggro player, you want to run something like this build. One thing I noticed is this was one of the more consistent Sanctuary Guard decks. A lot of times I would play people, they wouldn't have Sword Me, they would have the Counterblast 2 card, they wouldn't run Violinist, they didn't run the Milius as their starter, so if they played a Abyss deck, they were just done if they didn't get the perfect hand. They would run just stuff that they shouldn't run, honestly. They would run 8 grade 3s instead of 7. Like I said, this deck was just very well constructed to my play style. If you're an aggro player, you want to build something on the lines of this. Like I said, I got top 16 with this deck. My 2 losses, actually, I got double critted at 3. And played a Shadow player who got really lucky. He actually Orgeysered, so he plus really hard. He healed the turn. He healed, so then he went back down to 4 because obviously I credited him to 5 on his first stride, and Then he critted me, so then I got to 5. And when I attacked him to end it, it should have been the end if he didn't have enough to guard, but since he healed, he could take another one. He got a draw trigger, and draw trigger led to a PG, and yeah. Yeah, that's how my reign of the 12 crit Sanctuary Guard deck ended. First round I played an Abyss, pretty much wrecked him. I was just way more faster than him. Second game I played Bermuda, Olivia actually, which was pretty surprising. I played two really good decks back to back. I pretty much just ended him my first stride. He was at 2 damage, and I ended him with this combo that I showed you guys. My third match was Cat Butler, which surprisingly was a pretty hard matchup, but I ended up winning that. Fourth one was Gear Chronicle, and I just Gray 2 killed him. Then I got him to 4, Road, Strode, and that was pretty much the end of him. My fourth was a Royal Mare match. Killed that guy, and then another one was another Royal Mare match. And like I said, the Limit was and Milius was the difference in that game. That's why I said this card is very, very slept on. Very, very good card, especially if you're going first. In the mirror, you typically want to go first. Yeah, like I said, I had a fun experience. I didn't get to play the champion. I think his name was like Justin something. But yeah, so it was a really very good deck. Very hits hard, hits fast, and then with the 12 crit, it just makes it more aggro. All right, guys, don't forget to like, rate, subscribe. We'll be doing more deck lists pretty soon. I probably will be taking this deck to ARG. Thanks.